DarkSydePhil, or DSP, real name Philip Burnell, is a pretty infamous creator and esports competitor. He's an old school YouTuber, a pioneer of the Let's Play genre of content on the website, which would go on to dominate said website for years and even today. Prior to being known as a Let's Player, he was known within the fighting game community as a Street Fighter player. DSP has been making his content for over 15 years, and he's built up quite the catalog of videos. There is over 65,000 videos. Yes, you heard that right. And that's just on one channel. If you add up his other channels, it's probably close to like 80,000 or something. While DSP does have his fans and supporters, for years he has attracted a large amount of criticism. As a lot of people have noticed, despite playing video games for a living, DSP frequently makes mistakes, leading to people making compilation videos called "This is how you don't play," showcasing Phil messing up his playthroughs. When something goes wrong, he gets frustrated and blames the game itself, rather than taking responsibility for his poor play. While most of the Phil discourse, at least for years, was nothing too serious, it's just joking about a guy failing at video games. But there are also some people who really just don't like him. In today's video, we're going to briefly go over some of the interesting parts of Phil's long career on the internet, and cover some recent developments. While he has been largely criticized for years, as of recently he is undergoing what he sees as a career revival. DSP's original claim to fame was for his play in Street Fighter, specifically Super Street Fighter II Turbo. He was a competitive player, and known for making vulgar comments towards other players online, earning him the name King of Hate. While some people used this against Phil, he embraced the name, wearing it as a sort of badge of honor, as Phil, a fan of WWE, enjoyed playing a heel-type character. Now some doubt he was playing a heel, and him now saying that is just a way to cover up and excuse poor sportsmanship. During the EVO 2005 finals, a top esports event, DSP placed within the top 8. Specifically, he placed 4th, below 3 Japanese competitors. So he started claiming to be the best Street Fighter player in America. Even nearly 20 years later, Phil and his detractors still talk about this placement, especially when he performs poorly in the game now. A lot of people doubted Phil's claim of being the best American at the game, and pointed out that other top American players didn't compete that year, with those players citing the version of the game being used by EVO that year as to why. The specific port was considered a downgrade compared to other ports, apparently having issues with controls.
Because when you play Bison and you hit a Fierce Flame and it only goes like 20% of the screen, you got a problem with the game. And you got some idiot named DSP who's a total piece of shit, by the way. I like to get that on YouTube. But this guy thought he was hot because he beat me and Choi in a game that was like, it's like Neo Geo conversion of Street Fighter or some crap, dude. and he was so proud that he put under as a signature, he's the #1 US ranked Super Turbo player that year.
Because that year I was the highest ranked American and I was the heel of the Street Fighter community. So I talked so much about being the top ranked American. They all were so angry because these are guys who were, high level players who I beat in this tournament, including Mike Watson, and he wouldn't have it. So every excuse under the sun, the version of the game wasn't the right version, and half the players didn't show up to play. Every excuse to discredit me at that time because no one liked me because I was. So he did this interview years later, like 2010 at a tournament in California. And the reason he did this and talked shit is because I was just starting to become a popular YouTuber.
In the following years, DSP had success at other EVO events, especially at the qualifying tournaments. To prove he was good, DSP purposely traveled around America to attend multiple qualifying tournaments. He could have just stopped at winning the first one, as that's all he needed to attend the finals, but he kept traveling and playing, as he was dedicated to proving his point. And he seemingly didn't care it was costing him a lot of money. So much money it was putting him in credit card debt. Although he would eventually quit competing competitively, and would switch his gaming career path. In the background, he had worked a bunch of jobs. He was a valedictorian in high school. He worked at a yogurt place when he was a teenager. He worked at stores like Best Buy and Circuit City. He got a business degree, worked at a lender, and even worked at a helicopter company. But his true calling in life would be becoming a YouTuber. DSP is one of the earliest Let's Players to get popular. You could argue he is a pioneer of one of YouTube's biggest genres of content. Phil claims even people like PewDiePie were inspired by him, and there may be merit to that claim as PewDiePie used to engage with his content, but would later go on to make multiple statements mocking DSP over the years, as Phil had made some hostile comments towards him. Philip originally just made his Let's Plays for fun, and because of that, they had a very lo-fi aesthetic. He didn't have a microphone or a capture card to record the gameplay in a good quality. Instead, he would just point a camcorder at his TV and record footage. As YouTube had strict upload limits at the time, and DSP didn't want to edit his videos at all, every 10 minutes he would have to manually stop and start recording. After his play sessions, he would dump all the files online for people to watch. What DSP was doing was new, and he did it differently compared to his competitors, which led to DSP getting popular. He contributes to success due to the fact in his videos, it was his first time playing the game, while most other people did walkthroughs, meaning they had mastered the game and were showing you what to do. He also posted far more compared to his competitors. It was common for other people to not even talk in their videos. And also he focused on playing the newest game releases at the time. So if you wanted to see footage of a brand new game that released, and you typed it into YouTube, you probably came across a DSP video. After losing his employment, he decided to make YouTube his full-time job. He got into YouTube's AdSense system, so he could earn revenue from his videos, although he would be banned from earning money due to allegedly breaching his contract in his videos. Following being kicked out of the AdSense program, DSP would get a deal with YouTube competitor Blip TV, which was reportedly lucrative. It was also going to lead into him working with Doug Walker's That Guy with the Glasses group. You know Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic? Although that would end after he made some offensive jokes during a Let's Play. Then he went back to YouTube. Now he was able to be monetized again due to now being a part of Machinima in fall 2010. And because he was a part of Machinima, they monetized his content and they would give him a cut of the revenue. Machinima was once a big MCN, or multi-channel network. Creators would join them and they would take a cut of their revenue. In exchange, creators were to be given benefits for this. But most creators nowadays would tell you to never join these, and that the benefits are useless. And sometimes they'll just say they are a total scam. But DSP needed to be a part of Machinima because this was the only way for him to monetize his content at the time. He had to let a middleman company take a cut of his pay, if he wanted any pay at all. And it was seemingly going well, but then Machinima started paying him less and less over time. During this, you would think at the very least he would be happy to have ads again, but he started complaining about the type of ads being shown on his videos. In 2012, he was upset that ads featuring popular creator and television star Toby Turner, known as Tobuscus or Toby Games, were shown to his viewers. He saw this as unfair, and he saw Toby as competition. He also said other negative things about Toby, which people compiled into a video. Some members of the audience didn't like what they saw as pointless, numerous negative statements against fellow creators. In 2013, montages showcasing the worst of Philip's gameplay started garnering more attention than his actual videos, which likely was frustrating for him as they took up space when searching for content on his channel. He wasn't profiting off of them, and his viewership was on the decline, while videos making fun of him were becoming popular. He apparently tried getting these videos removed, but it didn't work, and more of them kept being made. Also around 2013, DSP finally made the switch over to the capture card. Yes, he was still pointing a camera at his TV the whole time. Now that his old recording method was completely outdated, and capture cards were now the standard everyone was expected to use. I think the most important thing regarding the switch over to the capture card was he now got to start streaming on Twitch. Twitch offers a lot for creators who make the type of content Phil makes. It allows them to easily put out long-form video game content, while also interacting with the viewers in real time and making revenue. Although, streaming caused some issues for him, as he would get into arguments with people in his chat. This led to him banning people, both of these attributed to his growing number of detractors. Philip would briefly leave Twitch and started to stream on YouTube, following an argument he had with Twitch staff. They told him he was streaming at a quality the servers couldn't handle, and asked them to lower it. He basically accused them of singling him out and alleged other personalities streamed at a high bitrate. Although he would eventually come back to Twitch until he got kicked out of the Twitch partner program, and he now resides completely on YouTube. In 2016, Philip would accidentally stream himself practicing self-love. While all the stream showed was his face and upper body, people knew what he was doing, and he admitted to it. This would go viral, being covered in tabloid news, as the concept of someone making an embarrassing mistake like this was a new thing. This would be covered by some of the biggest creators from that era of YouTube, such as Keemstar and Grade A Under A, although it didn't really seem to affect him too negatively, because he joked about it, not letting people get a rise out of him. And he also told Machinima not to try and cover up the story. Although, apparently they didn't listen and they still tried to do that anyways. As if it hasn't been clear, DSP has had some financial troubles over the years. He also talks about it a lot. However, it goes beyond just being able to keep one source of income stable. Sometimes he makes what many consider foolish purchases. Some of these are actual purchases he's made, although sometimes he'll deny making some of these purchases. He bought a condo, and that put him in debt while he was having stability issues. And it was about to get worse as the years went on. In 2017, Machinima ended their contract with him. Since he can't monetize his content himself, the company Curse stepped in to assist him. You would think DSP would be happy, as he was making money again, and with Curse, he was actually making more money than with Machinima. But another company offered him an even more lucrative deal. Not only would he be making more money off of his videos, they would also put ads on the compilation videos making fun of him. And since those videos were often more popular than his own, he left Curse prior to securing a deal with this new company and making sure it was legit. He didn't get what they were promising. Apparently, a group of detractors spoke to the company and convinced them to pull out of the deal. Or the company was just a scam, it's one of the two. Luckily for DSP, Curse took him back. Also in 2017, DSP would be mocked by liberal streamer Destiny. He would watch a clip of DSP on a stream, in which DSP discussed his BMW that he bought while he was in debt, and he also spoke about the car market. Destiny mocked DSP due to his lack of knowledge, despite the fact that he spoke pretty confidently. At one point, DSP claimed he hadn't gotten an oil change in years, because he was under the belief that BMW would have to contact him to get it beforehand.
With BMW, to return the BMW, and I have some hurdles I have to jump through. They want me to take it in to have maintenance done first, because I never had the oil change, the brake fluid change, which is a stupid thing.
Wait, what? He hasn't changed the oil in 5 years? I'm sorry, I must have heard that wrong. Hold on 1 second. Wait, has he had the car for 3 years or 5 years? So he's never changed the oil in this car in 3 years. In 36 months.
And by the way, that wasn't my choice to not have the oil changed. That was because it's a whole rigmarole. They never contacted us to get it changed.
Why would they contact you to change your oil?
DSP, also paying $400 to $500 a month for this nice car, had also only ever driven it 6,000 miles in the years he had it. So he's barely even using this expensive car.
In 3 years, we only drove the car 6,000 miles. So if that gives you any idea.
He what? He leased a car for $400 or $500 a month, and he's only drove it 6,000 miles in 3 years? Why?
In late 2017 and early 2018, DSP had his audience of fans. Alongside this audience who doesn't like him, DSP had earned a reputation of being bad at handling money, and he publicly spoke about his financial hardships, as we've been over. And someone was about to try and leverage his bad reputation against him. An individual, claiming to be a high-end sex worker, alleged DSP had owed thousands of dollars for services he received from her. This was all covered in a video by commentator Mr. Mediker. DSP responded to the allegations made against him early on, dismissing them and laughing it off.
So they fabricate this story that I hired an escort to come visit me during my Christmas break. I paid her thousands of dollars, or owe her thousands of dollars, apparently. I don't even know what the full story is because I'm not really following. They will literally fabricate anything to create drama just so there's drama. What drama is there? I mean, yeah, financially I'm in a bind, but people have been very supportive. People are coming out on streams and being very positive. So let's fabricate something, because there's really not much negative to say about Phil these days. So let's just make shit up. Oh, he hired an escort to come during Christmas. It's like, what?
But some people became more and more convinced it was true, as DSP had posted photos of a woman with red hair, not showing her face. The accounts making the claims against Phil posted photos of a woman with red hair, claiming that was them in the photo. Tweets the accuser and Phil made around the same time, before this was a public allegation, discussed the same things, such as issues with traveling, which some viewed as circumstantial evidence to prove what she was saying was true. But then the allegations this person made started to fall apart. After claiming to be paid by DSP, they still continued to speak negatively about him, which they claimed they wouldn't do if he paid. And then more and more people started digging into the account, leading to the lie falling apart. Allegedly, the photos of the woman on the sex worker account was stolen from another woman, and the account then had all its tweets deleted. The account then started stating it was hacked, and the sex worker website was then also taken down too. And then trolls of DSP claimed they ran the account apparently, or maybe it was a different person trying to pin it on his detractors. The real alleged truth, from my understanding, was a couple who run scams online was behind the account. Although, thankfully, it didn't work, and DSP carried on doing his thing. In January 2020, now being $500,000 in debt, DSP filed for bankruptcy. People took interest in the fact he claimed to have $5,000 of monthly business expenses, with people wondering what he was spending that on. Despite what onlookers thought, some believing Philip was committing fraud, his bankruptcy would be approved, and he continued to stream like normal. According to DSP, doing this was a challenge, as his detractors contacted the judge en masse about his spending habits regarding a certain video game he played and issues with his paperwork. They realized none of his paperwork mentioned his cat, so they contacted the judge about it. DSP's lawyer then had to add spending regarding his cat into the paperwork. After a lot of what DSP describes as tedious work, the judge accepted it, and he uses this to argue against the idea of him committing fraud, and his bankruptcy claim going through was totally legitimate. In an interview given years later, in 2023, he was asked about the $5,000 a month. He tried explaining it by saying it covered his basic expenses.
Specifically, there's this $5,000 business expense every
Right.
month. So
Right.
what is this?
And I believe that the $5,000 a month number came off of, I believe it's from a tax return. Is that correct? That it was filed or the data? I'm trying to remember exactly where it came from. You guys probably know more than me because you've probably been inundated with this for 2 weeks. While I'm so far removed from this.
I want to hear it from you.
I would assume that the expenses are including everything that I do. Okay, that's related to the business, and that could include mortgage, any insurance that I'm paying that relates to the business, health insurance and or medical costs, legal costs. And that what I'm talking about is my tax attorney, but also other attorney and things that I've been involved in over the years, which among other things, all the normal things in a month, like I said, utilities and all of that. It adds it up. Here it is. Here's my tax return. All of a sudden I'm being accused that was a lie or something.
A big thing tied to the bankruptcy was allegations he also faced in January 2020. DSP was accused of spending upwards of $10,000 on a WWE gacha game called WWE Champions. These types of games are free to play. They make money by getting you, the player, to spend money to try and get good items via a lottery type system. It's designed to get you addicted to the game and repeatedly spending money via microtransactions. Now, if this was any other creator, who cares? I mean, yeah, I would personally consider that a complete waste of money, and it's laughable to invest enough money to buy a decent used car into virtual WWE wrestlers, but it's their money at the end of the day. But as we've been over, DSP has publicly spoken about his issues with finances for years, doing emergency streams to raise funds for things he needed, such as paying his taxes. If the WWE Champions thing is real, would he have even needed to do these streams in the first place if he spent responsibly? There's been a lot of research put into trying to prove DSP has played this game, and that he did waste thousands of dollars on it. We could be here for an hour going over all of it, but I want to keep this video brief. All I'm gonna say is, it's widely believed he did, and there's a lot of evidence. However, he has denied these allegations related to this for years. He has admitted to playing the game and spending a decent chunk of change on the game, although it was nowhere near as much money as his detractors were saying. In a 2023 interview, Phil claimed the real amount of money was likely under $1,000, not even close to the 5-figure range they were speculating.
How much money have you spent in this game? Do you mind saying?
Total, I couldn't tell you. It's definitely total under $1,000 over the years that it's been in operation, for sure.
Okay, not over $1,000.
No,
Because
absolutely not.
that's not what people think.
That's correct.
They
I
think
know.
that you're
The reason people suspected 5 figures for DSP was because his alleged account was a high-ranking account in the game. And, since it's paid to win, he must have spent a lot of money to rank so highly. Although DSP claims the DSP account was not his, and he doesn't use the name DSP on the app. So according to him, his detractors figured out he did play this game, and he did spend a good chunk of change on it. Although, the DSP account isn't his, and he used a different account. Despite the fact he also used Discord servers related to this game under the name DSP, he also didn't spend as much money as they said he did. But he did spend a lot of it. Many were skeptical, or did not believe what he was saying. He refused to give his supposed actual account because he says it's connected to other personal things of his, and he prefers to give out as little personal information as possible. One thing that's really interesting is the account using DSP's name changed the name of the account following the drama. This is not something you can do within the game. DSP apparently tried to change the name of his actual secret account to protect his identity and to show how much he spent, but he couldn't do it. Even when he contacts support asking to do it, they refused. Keep this in mind. During an interview Phil gave, he was also asked about alleged leaks that would prove he did spend an unreasonable amount of money on WWE Champions. Originally, it was believed by his critics he spent low 5 figures on the game. But now, according to these leaks, many believed he had spent around the mid 5-figure range. He denied these leaks being legitimate. We will come back to WWE Champions and whether or not the DSP account was his. But first, we need to discuss what led up to DSP telling what he claims is the truth about WWE Champions. Over the years, many have tried to get DSP to engage with more explicit drama content. I mean, yeah, he discusses it on his own stream, but he's not often going on to other streams about it, outside of the Side Scrollers interview in 2023. One person who wanted to collaborate with him was Keemstar, the host of Drama Alert. He has recently launched a successful podcast called Locale Live. The idea of the show was to have multiple controversial e-celebs on the same show. The original cast was supposed to be Boogie2988, Wings of Redemption, and DSP. Although Phil never went on to the show, and he kinda just kept to himself, just doing his normal content. However, in 2024, DSP formed an unlikely alliance with PPP and Andy Worski of the Kino Casino. The duo had previously mocked DSP quite a bit, although they started discussing another creator more, being Review Tech USA. You see, Rich of Review Tech had been criticizing Phil for years, and when Rich was in drama, Phil started discussing it, and many people, including the Kino Casino, found what DSP said really funny. After some positive coverage from the casino, DSP and the duo started interacting positively, and later doing streams together, resulting in DSP gaining a boost in viewers and revenue from their audience. The month of August 2024 was big for him, with multiple big collaboration streams with the Kino Casino and Keemstar. This obviously led to his monthly numbers being up. But more interestingly, DSP claims YouTube is now recommending his content, something he claimed hasn't happened in a decade, and he was very happy about it.
YouTube recommending my actual content. You have to understand something, and this is me being very sincere with you, okay? YouTube has not recommended my content in a legitimate manner for the greater part of a decade.
he would get even more attention in September 2024. A documentary about him was released by June the King, a popular creator who produces videos similar to mine. The video trended on the platform, and DSP took advantage of the release to continue his wave of current momentum, with June even agreeing to talk to Phil on stream. And while watching June's documentary and reacting to it, DSP gave what he claims is the truth about WWE Champions. Philip paused the documentary for about half an hour to give his side of the story regarding what happened. He admitted to lying, saying the account was his, although he still claimed the estimations of how much he spent are inaccurate.
Everything that I said in that segment on stream was a lie. Literally every time someone asked me about WWE Champions, I lied. Every single fucking time. Because to me, my personal spending, things I was doing off stream, was no one's business. A lot of the shit that was said about WWE Champions was outright lies, okay? So for example, my detractors would go out and be like, Phil spent $2,000, $3,000 in a weekend or whatever on WWE Champions. It's completely wrong. They have no idea what they're talking about. Either they don't know how the game works, or they're purposefully overinflating numbers. You know, there were weekends, this is back then, you know, we're talking years ago, where I spent a couple $100s in a weekend on the game. Admit that. They would say I spent $1,200. Where are you getting that information from?
Now, if you remember, the account name changed from DSP's username to another username called Down from the Rafters, and you aren't able to actually change your name in the game. DSP used this to imply some sort of shenanigans were going on. Well, apparently the truth is, DSP convinced the developers of the game to change his username, as he had spent a lot of money on the game. Although there was an error. Apparently, in the game, there's a way to make your account invisible, and they were to change his name while no one could see it. That way, DSP could return to playing the game anonymously, without losing his progress. Although they did it while the account was not invisible, so everybody saw the bizarre and rare name change. Now hold up. So DSP still does play the game, and he has now admitted to the account being his. So was he lying about having his own personal account? Well, according to DSP, he sold the Down from the Rafters account years ago, which he felt was a mistake, because if he had just closed it down, this whole drama would have gone away. But since the account, from my understanding, is still active, with many thinking it's still him, it created more problems. And yes, he still does play the game on a secret account, and also a brand new account that he made just for streams. So DSP has made 3 WWE Champion accounts that we know of. Many are still unhappy with DSP, as he did just admit to lying. Whether you thought the account was his or not, he lied to you. And many feel his new statement is also filled with new lies. While DSP did enjoy a surge of popularity in summer 2024, what happens from here? I think the momentum will fade, if it hasn't already, but I think he'll continue to do better than he was doing previously. What happens next is unknown, but I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Thank you all for watching and supporting my content. God bless.